We continue now at the top of Daf Yud Tesamad Aleph from Mesechet Kesuvos. This is Kesuvos Daf 19a. The Gemara here is discussing the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says that if the Edom come in and they say that yes, that is our signature, however, we were psulim or we were ketanim or something along those lines, they are not believed according to Rabbi Meir. And the question is, why don't they have a pesha os or pesha hitter? And so the Gemara now is continuing to explain the reason they're not believed. So when it comes to the situation where they're saying they're disqualified, we assume that the person would not have signed people who were disqualified witnesses. And ketanim also, it's like Reish Lakish says. Reish Lakish says, Chazaka eino edem chosman al ashtar el imkei nasa begadol. There is a chazaka that the witnesses will not sign the shtar unless it is done with adults. Rashi over here says, el imkei nasa begadol kol maisa hashtar, meaning to say, everything that is done with the shtar is done with adults. Begadolim halokeach v'hamocher v'gav edem nami amrin, and chazaka ein halokeach machtem bo ketanim. There's a chazaka that the lokeach is not going to sign ketanim. So in other words, what they are saying is going against the chazaka. It's going against the presumption. The presumption is that if they set up a shtar over here, they were certainly gedolim. But the Gemara says, Ela anusim my time, but when it comes to the situation where they say they were forced to sign, so why aren't they believed? Why don't we say pesha os or pesha hitter? And the Gemara answers, Amar Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says, Kosavar Rabbi Meir, the reason is because Rabbi Meir holds Eidim she'amru lahem chismu sheker. Let's say Eidim are told that they should sign falsely. Ve'al tehargu, and then they will not be killed. Yehargu ve'al yechsemu sheker. They actually should first be killed rather than signing falsely. And Rashi over here says, Yehargu ve'al yechosmu sheker hilkach. Therefore, ki amri nami anusim hayinu. Even if they say these are our signatures, but we were forced, machmas nefashos, and we were forced with death threats, mashu and afshai Rishoim, that would be rendering themselves into Rishoim, and therefore we do not believe such testimony about themselves, and that's why in that case as well, Rabbi Meir says they are not believed to disqualify the shtar. But the Gemara continues, Amar le Rava. Rava said back to him, to Rav Chisda, Hashda now. If they would come in front of us to decide, let's say they wanted to decide whether to sign or whether they should be killed, would we tell them that you should sign? We would tell them that you should sign and not be killed. In other words, if they would come for a psak halacha, we certainly would tell them that they should sign. Because the master said, the only things that stand in the face of pikuach nefesh are avodah zarah, Gilui Arayos, and Shvichas Damim. So Hashda de Chasmu, so now that they did sign, Amrinan Lahu Amai Chasmi, so we're going to tell them, why did you sign? That doesn't make any sense. In other words, of course, in this case, they're not making themselves Rishoim. They're doing exactly what we would have told them to do. They're signing instead of giving up their lives. So that cannot possibly be the explanation. And so the Gemara rather says, Taimud Rabbi Meir kid Rav Huna Amar Rav. The real reason of Rabbi Meir is like Rav Huna says in the name of Rav. Diyamar Rav Huna Amar Rav, because Rav Huna said that Rav said, Mo de b'shtar shekosvu ein tzarech l'kaimu. The halacha is that once the lova admits that a shtar was written, there is no need for certification. It's as if he's already certified the shtar, and even if he goes ahead and claims that he paid it, we ignore such a claim because we say he's claiming that in the face of a certified shtar. Rashi over here says, Mo de b'shtar shekosvu, lo v'shahoda b'shtar shekosvu, ve'al piv nechtemu ha'edem. Let's say you have a borrower that admits that the shtar was written, and he says, yes, the edem signed properly. Ein ha'mal v'tzarech l'kaimu, the halacha is it needs no certification. Be'edem ha'chasumim bo, you don't need to certify those signatures. She'ein ha'lo v'shuv ne'man lomar parativ. The lova at that point cannot say that I paid it off. We don't say pesha osr pesha hitter. We don't say, well, the lova certified it, and therefore he's the one that can say he paid. Because the moment he says it's kosher, at that point the shtar is considered certified. And when he says I paid it, lo mehem, he's not believed. Because right now it's in the possession of the malva, and therefore the malva can collect. For Rabbi Meir nami, and so the explanation in Rabbi Meir is as follows. But Rabbi Meir also will say the same thing. When he says that these eidim are not believed to disqualify it, the way Rashi understands the Gemara is that the lova is actually admitting in this case as well that it was written. And therefore we don't need the eidim to certify. And therefore it's not through them that the certification is happening. And that's why we do not believe them with a pesha os or pesha hitter. And the Gemara continues, Gufo, returning to what we said above. Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. Rav Huna said in the name of Rav, Mo de b'shtar shekosvu ein tzarech l'kaimu. Again, if a person admits that the shtar was written, that's the borrower admits, so then there's no need for certification. So Amar le Rav Nachman, so Rav Nachman said to him, Genuve lamalach. Why do you need to steal or conceal the words that you are saying? Rashi says, Genuve misganev atalomar dvarecha b'loshen shelo nechel gubo hayachid v'amrubin. You're pretending as if this wasn't a machlokis between the majority and the minority. because you don't want your words to be ignored. Because really what you're doing is you're just saying like an individual opinion. You're saying like a minority opinion. And he continues and says, if you hold like Rabbi Meir, like we just said, that Rabbi Meir is the one that says, so if you hold like Rabbi Meir, you should have just said that the halacha is like Rabbi Meir. You shouldn't just say it as its own independent statement. Say that you're paskening like a yachid. So Amar Lei, so he said back to him, Umar hechi svirle. So the master, how does he hold? Amar Lei, so he said back to him, Kiyasu l'kaman ladina. When they come before us to the court in such a case, Amrinan lahu, we say to them, Zilu kaimu shtaraychu. You have to certify the shtaros, v'chusu ladina, and then you can go to court properly. Rashi over here says, Kiyasu l'kaman malvin mevi and shtaros. When the malva comes and he brings the shtar, we tell him kaimu shtaraychu. Kachani ragel lomar lamalvim hamavim shtarosem lefanai. Ve'inei deim imoim. If they don't have their witnesses with them, and he omer lem, I say to them, Lechu uvikshu eidechem, go and find your witnesses. V'kaimu, and you have to certify it. Ilav hachi, if not for that, afagav demo de lova shakasu, even though the lova admitted, matzi lememar parativ, he is able to say he paid. In other words, I do not agree with this halacha of moed b'shtar shakasu, that ain't sarich l'kaimu. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, ha'omer shtar amona huza. Let's say somebody says this is a shtar amona. What is a shtar amona? Rashi says shtar amona lo lava klum. A shtar amona is a document that's written, and it's written for a loan, but really no money was lent at all, no money was borrowed. Elakasu masar lamalva. What happened was the lova gave this document to the malva. Shem yitztarich lalabos yilva, that in the future, if he needs to borrow, he'll borrow. V'hemino shelo yitvenu elim kein malveyu. The lova essentially trusted the malva that the malva is not going to collect until the loan was actually made. So he trusted him with the shtar ahead of time, even though there was no loan. So let's say he says that it was a shtar amona, I don't owe any money. So so he's not believed to say such a thing. So the Gemara wants to clarify, who exactly is the one claiming that it's a shtar amona? If you say that it's the lova claiming it's a shtar amona, pshit, that's obvious he's not believed. Kol kamine, would he be believed to go against the Edom? The guy has Malva has a shtar with Edom to collect money, and he can just say it's a shtar amona? Of course he can't say that. So then rather you'll say it's the Malva that's the one that's saying it's a shtar amona, meaning he's admitting that he has no money owed to him. So Taval of Brach, if that's true, so he should be blessed. He's admitting that he's holding a shtar amona and he's not owed money. Why wouldn't we believe him? So rather to Ka'amri Edom. The case over here is that the witnesses are saying that it's a shtar amona. So the Gemara clarifies, if this is certified independently, we can certify their signatures from some other place. So pshita de lo mehemni, it's obvious that the witnesses are not believed, because again, once it's certified independently, the Edom cannot come back and say that it's not a good shtar, it can't be collected with. Now, if their signatures have not been certified independently, they're the ones certifying, so then it should be pesha aser, pesha hitter. Why shouldn't the witnesses be believed to say that it's a shtar amon? And so the Gemara answers, Amar Rava, Rava says, Liolam dekamar lova. Really the case over here is the borrower is the one that is saying that it's a shtar amona. So the question is, why should the borrower be believed? Because we're following what Rav Huna said, what we just quoted above. The Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav, because Rav Huna said in the name of Rav, Mo de b'shtar shakasu ein tzarich l'kaima. Once the lova admits that the shtar is good, there's no further need for certification. So in other words, in this case, the document is really being certified by the lova. Maybe you would think that therefore it's like a pesha aser, pesha hitter, he can say it's a shtar amona, but that's not true. Once he certifies it, it's considered certified, and therefore there's no need for further certification, and he's not believed to say that it's a shtar amona. Rashi over here says, Vashmeinon, Rav Yehuda Nami Hachi, this is what Rav Yehuda is teaching us. To Lova Shamar Kasavtim Umesartiv Lo, Aval Shtar Amona, if the Lova says, I wrote it, I gave it to him, but it's a Shtar Amona, Ein Sarach Malva Lachzer Lahavi Lohaid Alachasim. The Malva doesn't need to bring independent certification. Dein Namon Lova Laposlo, the Lova cannot disqualify to Lohavid Inish Dechasav Umasar Below Halva. People are not normally going to write a Shtar and give it over if there wasn't actually a loan, and so therefore that's a Chiddush already, that the Lova is not believed. It's a Chiddush again, like Rav says, Mode b'shtar shakasvo in tzarich l'kaima. Abaye says liolam damar malva. Really, it's the malva saying that it's a shtar of money. He's just admitting he's not owed any money. So that doesn't make sense. Why shouldn't we believe the malva? But the answer is zuchago and shechav le'acherim. The admission over here, for example, is a case where that it actually causes an obligation for others. By him admitting that he's not owed money, it causes a loss of money to other people. Uchad Rabbi Nosson, that's like Rabbi Nosson says. The Tanya we learned in a brayso. Rabbi Nosson says, Minayin lanosha bechaveru mona vechaveru bechaveru. Let's say a person owes a money to somebody, and that person owes a amana to somebody. How do you know that you can give directly from the person straight to the original creditor? It doesn't have to pass through the middle guy. We say since Ruvain owes Shimon amana and Shimon owes Levi amana, it goes straight from Ruvain to Levi. How do we know that? Because the pasuk says, you give it to the person who you are guilty to. So meaning it goes directly to that original creditor. And so therefore over here, if this person who's admitting it's a shtar amana is really a middleman, so to speak, he's a middle creditor, so he's actually causing a loss to the person that he owes money to. And so therefore that he's not allowed to do. Rashi says, through this admission, it's causing a loss to somebody else. By saying this is shtar amana, the people that he owes money to are losing out. He doesn't have what to give those people. They wanted to collect this obligation. Pasuk says, it doesn't say you pay back the person who loaned you the money. Means whoever has the original principal. Again, the person who owns, so to speak, or who is owed the original principal, that's the person who should get the money. And the Gemara continues with another answer. Rav Ashi says, Liolam duka amri edim. Really the case is, it's that the witnesses are the ones. They're saying it's a shtar amana. Ude'ein ksav yodam yotzim makam acher. And there's no independent verification of their signatures. So duka amrit amai lo mehemni. So that which you asked, why aren't they believed? Don't they have a pesha os or pesha hitter? The answer to that is Kidder Rav Kahana. It follows what Rav Kahana said. The Amar Rav Kahana, because Rav Kahana said, Osir lo la adam sheyish a shtar amana besoch beis. So it's actually forbidden for a person to have a shtar amana in his house. That's why we can assume this is not a shtar amana. Mishum shenemer, because the pasuk says, Al tishkon bolecha avla. You shouldn't have something corrupt that is in your tents, meaning a shtar amana is something that really can lead to corruption, because what's going to happen is you're going to collect for a loan that you never made. You're going to collect money that you're not really owed, and therefore a shtar amana in general should not really exist in a person's house. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Yud Tes Amud Beis.